What is up, guys? It's your boy Andy Majors. I'm back with another video. So, why is it that people think that Jesus Christ is not cool? Right? Jesus Christ is not hip. Jesus Christ is not cool? Most of the world see following Jesus as boring. Being a Christian is boring. Blah 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 blah. Right? I will explain. Okay, because that's one of the reasons. Like before I became a Christian. Growing up, I just thought, man, I am so bored. Going to church was boring. Reading the Bible was boring. Everything was just boring. The people around me were boring. My Christian family members were boring. Everything was just boring. And even my family, like many people in my family, they saw being a Christian as something that you do when you were old, about to die. You beg God for forgiveness before you die so that you can, hopefully make it to heaven. Like it was just something that old people did, not something that young people did. So, yeah. First of all, one of the reasons why many people think that being a Christian is boring and following Jesus Christ is boring is because the world belongs to Satan himself. Satan, Lucifer, Hillel, his original name in heaven. Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub, whatever. The world belongs to him. The world belongs to him. As a matter of fact, I'll read you some Bible verses. In 1 John, chapter 5, verse 19 says, we know that we are children of God and that the whole world is under the control of the devil. Okay, 2 Corinthians says, chapter 4, verse 4, Satan, who is the God of this world, has blinded the minds of those who don't believe. Right? John 12, verse 31. Now is the time for judgment on this world. Now the prince of this world will be driven out. So it's always referring to Satan as, the God of this world, the prince of this world, the owner of this world, right? Another one, Luke chapter 4, verse 5. I will give you, this is when Satan was tempting Jesus in the wilderness, right, in the desert. So Satan goes up to Jesus and says, I will give you all the authority and splendor the world has to offer, right? It has been given to me, and I can give it to anyone I want to. So he's trying to give the world to Jesus. And of course, Jesus says, no, I don't want this world. My kingdom is in heaven, not here, you idiot. Right? Yeah, so that's one of the reasons. Another reason is because religions around the world give Jesus Christ a bad name. So we all know about the pastors, the Catholic priests who abuse little boys. They go to bed with children. They've been caught with children. We all know these stories. Look at the Epstein files. There were some people from mega churches in the Epstein files. Catholic priests. I'm sure there's some Catholic priests in the Epstein file. We all know that the Catholic priests, they abuse little children. Not all, but they're the ones that mainly get caught. That's mainly why. Religion, not necessarily, not followers of Jesus Christ, because you could go to church and pretend like you're a Christian, but you're not really following Jesus Christ. Okay, so religious people give Jesus Christ a bad name. Okay, they give him a bad name with all the crap that they say. Also, churches, they don't really teach the Bible correctly, right? That's why a lot of people don't even know how to defend themselves against demons and the darkness and the curse of Satan, is because in the church they don't even teach you about the supernatural. They really don't. They have this prosperity gospel and all this bullshit. all the wonderful things, everything that shines like gold, but like they don't tell you like what God really is like. They don't tell you what God really is like. Also, secondly, religious people make Christianity look boring. Like we're supposed to go home and stare at our walls all day. A lot of Christian people, they don't think it's okay to do like any fun things, like taking martial arts lessons. I don't know, doing art. Oh, that's another thing. One of the reasons why Christians they have to consume secular entertainment, right, is because many conservatives, Republicans, and Christian people, they don't really encourage their kids to go into the arts, painting, drawing, creating, digital art, digital drawing. They don't really encourage that. They say that it's a waste of time. Oh, become a plumber. And there's nothing wrong with blue collar work. That makes a lot of money, but somebody has to do it. Somebody has to become a Christian artist, a modern day Christian artist. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to take the risk, and paint and draw for Jesus. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do some artwork for Jesus. But we're kind of boring. I hate to say, but we are kind of boring. Not all of us, obviously, because just because you're a Christian doesn't mean that you have to be boring. You can make it fun. It's just that Christians in church make it look boring. And I don't believe that it has to be this way. It doesn't mean that you have to be like the secular world. You don't have to be sinful to have fun. Okay? But Christians make it look boring. They make Jesus look boring. Another reason is because Christian entertainment, at least modern day Christian entertainment, and Christian art is really bad. Christian art is bad, man. Okay, I have yet to find a really good Christian artist that makes really good drawings, paintings, or even Christian comic books, Christian manga, Christian whatever. The only good thing that Christians have is Christian music. Christian music is pretty good. I don't like Christian rap. I think Christian rap is cringy, but Christian music is pretty entertaining. There's a lot of really, really good Christian music out there. But yeah, man, it's just I wish there was more creativity in the Christian world, but there isn't. A lot of Christian people are afraid of creativity because I don't know. We are creatures of the Creator Himself. We should create. But I don't know. Christian people think, oh well, we shouldn't do that because blah 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 blah. Christian people are so boring. I hate, as somebody that follows Jesus Christ, I will say it. Christian people are so boring, and they make it boring. Yeah. So, Christian entertainment sucks. The Christian movies, they kind of suck. Old Christian movies were better, but modern day Christian shows, they're just bad. Another reason is, TV shows like The Simpsons. Ned Flanders? Ned Flanders from The Simpsons, they make Christians look weak, meek, and pushovers. Like we are torturing ourselves by doing all this boring stuff. Right? That's how TV shows portray Christians, just like a bunch of, boring losers. That's why. Also, Hollywood has made Satan look so much more cool. Just take a look at the TV show Lucifer. Satan has his own TV show. I know now that we have The Chosen, which is a TV show about Jesus Christ. Right? It's about, Jesus Christ and his disciples. And that show is pretty cool. I'm not going to lie, it's a cool show. But aside from that, we really don't have a lot of good shows, entertainment, that make following Jesus look like a good thing, a beautiful thing. And if we go to church, there's so many there's so many bad Christians and pastors. There's so many weak pushover pastors, and many of our pastors have been bought. So like they don't even preach, the things that they should be preaching in churches. They're cowards. They were bought by corporations, by the government. They're all bought out. Many of these pastors. There are very few. I think like 1% of churches are actually truly following Jesus Christ. Another one. There was a time when Hollywood made Christian movies unapologetically. Right? Like I think in the 1970s, they made some really good Christian movies, Jesus of Nazareth and all of that, but not anymore. those days are over. And there is like a rise, there is an increase of faith-based movies like The Chosen, but the people behind that are kind of creepy. I mean, Jonathan Rumi himself, he's amazing, He's amazing. He said it himself in an interview.
Jonathan Rumi, who portrays Jesus in the series The Chosen, actually comes out and says that he's a Freemason. Check out this clip.
I'm wearing a mantle and a cross with a little crown on it, a knight's cross. 5 years ago, I was knighted by the order, the solemn sovereign military order of the Temple of Jerusalem. Lost my mind there for a second. Essentially the Knights Templar, which is what that is.
So when stating that he's a Knights Templar, if you're not familiar, the Knights Templar is one of the highest degrees of Freemasonry. This is public knowledge, well known and well documented. And in fact, when you think about secret societies in general, the Knights Templar are a big part of that. So when an actor portraying Jesus in one of the most widely watched shows about the Christian experience comes out and says that he's a Knights Templar, how should Christians respond? What I'm reminded of is that in the end times, it will be possible for even the very elect to be deceived if they allow themselves to be. And I think Christ was really clear on what the end times will look like. There's going to be false Christs and false prophets saying the wrong things to mislead people.
The guy is amazing. So that's why. And that's why it's really up to us, the true followers of Jesus. The true followers of Jesus Christ, the people that read the Bible, because most Christians don't read the Bible, and when they do, they misinterpret it. The people that read the Bible, the people that that follow the commands of Jesus Christ, Matthew chapter 5, 6, and 7. Okay? If you want to follow the commands of Jesus, go to Matthew chapter 5, 6, and 7. That's what you need to do. So yeah, that's why we are in a world that belongs to Jesus, but we are in the world that belongs to Satan, but thanks to Jesus Christ and his sacrifice, we can be free of sin. And being a Christian is not boring. You don't have to make it look boring. It's a lie. It doesn't have to be boring, guys. It doesn't have to be. We make it boring. But anyways, I think I'm gonna leave it there. Not sure how to end this video, but yeah, just a lot of things just make Jesus Christ look boring and look bland and look like not cool. But following the devil, dude, that's awesome. Looking evil, dude, that's edgy. Yeah, that's edgy, bro. All right, so I'm gonna end it there. Whatever your thoughts are, make sure to comment below. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. And again, just because you're a Christian doesn't mean that you have to be boring, guys. Be creative. Okay? God bless. And may Jesus Christ have favor in you.